Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we're anything but straight. My name is Space.
And I'm Paradox.
And we welcome you to our episode, which is about what today?
Reconnecting with the furry fandom, because we know it's been rough lately.
It has been rough. This was... I don't remember who mentioned this topic.
I think it was Bix.
It could have been Bix.
I think it was, because I think they had some sort of like issue where they went to a meet or something and they said that they didn't feel very connected or something. And I was like, damn, that really sucks, man.
Oh, you know what? And then to further that, Bix and I were talking like a couple weeks ago when we were doing a recording and we were doing fangasms, and we just felt so like out of touch, which is so weird because I'm 39 years old and I feel a little out of touch with the fandom. And he's only like 20 years old and he feels out of touch with the fandom. So we have like a 20-year gap of both of us feeling like we're out of focus with the fandom, just out of it, which I thought was really interesting. So that kind of spawned us to do, we've had requests of people wanting to do like gray muzzles in the fandom. So we mentioned that in the fangasms episode, and then a week later after it came out, we got a ton of emails from a bunch of gray muzzles, and one of them wanted to be a guest, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting because I've never had like anyone just respond like this before, so this is really cool. So we've got a gray muzzles that we're creating. Hopefully
don't you count us a gray muzzle, Space?
I do, but the thing is okay, here's the weird thing, and I'll talk about this on the Gray Muzzle episode. Apparently, there are different stages of furries in the fandom. I don't know what the pre-stage of Gray Muzzle is, because I haven't really looked into it that far, but apparently there's Gray Muzzle, which is anywhere between like 30 to 40.
I'm a Gray Muzzle then, because I'm 30.
Yeah, and then after 50, you're a Silver Muzzle from 50 up. So I'm like, well, shit. There's got to be other stages that I don't know about. Are there like preemies? Are there preemie furries? I don't know.
Preemie furries?
Yeah.
little teeny bopper furries. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna kind of
straight out of the mother's womb. I'm a furry.
Straight out of the mother's womb. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Straight out of the egg for our avian and scaly furs.
Yes.
Straight out the egg. Straight out the yolk.
Yolk is a weird word.
Yolk is a weird word. Yolk. Because it's got an L.
I feel like I want to call that to an old person. I'm not going to call them old. I'm going to be like, look at you, you yolk. You're an old yolk stuck in an oak. I don't know. Wordplay.
An old yolk stuck in
a yolk.
If you say yolk,
I feel like that's something I would say in the future, but it has no meaning behind it.
I feel like that's like an insult from like an old like 60s cartoon, like the Looney Tunes and shit, where it's like, you yolk. I don't know, like Elmer Fudd or someone would say something like that.
Speaking of 60s, have you ever watched Batman from like the TV series from that time period?
If we're talking about like the live action one,
like Batman and Robin.
Yes, I've seen a little bit of it. Yes,
it's so bad. It's
my God,
terribly bad. I mean, they've got like dad jokes, but these are like, there are funny dad jokes, and then there are Batman dad jokes that are just like, oh my God, why?
Well,
I started coming across them like on Instagram and stuff, and Felix has pulled them up a few times on YouTube. And now I'm kind of just like in this thing now where I want to find old Batman clips because they're so stupid and ridiculous.
Honestly, I love the older media because it's so sometimes unintentionally funny. I was watching like you, I was watching some sort of reel, or maybe it was a TikTok or something, somewhere along the social media thread line, where I was watching, it was like some old like black and white movie, and oh God, what was it called? It was like Keep Your Powder On or something. I don't know what it was called, but it had to do with women like joining the military, and like just some of their interactions were so blatantly sapphic. It was so funny because you know that they weren't necessarily intentionally doing that, but just the interactions between these two women was so sexually charged. I'm like, ha, lesbians. So, it was just really interesting.
Keep Your Powder Dry, 1945 by MGM.
Yes, I kind of want to watch it. Like, I saw, I think it was like an edit or something, and it was really cool. I'll have to find it and show it to you because I know I have it saved somewhere, but it was really interesting. It was like, that's so lesbian coded. It was just really cool.
Movies and like TV shows from that time period were just kind of like perfectly pristine comedic content. Like there wasn't much, I mean, obviously because of like laws and, women's rights and gay rights and all that stuff now, like some of the stuff they say on those series would not be okay now, but it's still funny to watch it. Just like, it's kind of like British humor. Anything goes and they don't care who hears it, kind of a thing.
It's very true. Honestly, a lot of British TV is funny as hell. Oh my gosh. So funny.
So funny. I got BritBox because a lot of the British stuff isn't on like Netflix or Prime or Hulu or Disney. So I have to get BritBox. And I started watching a show that I really love watching called Are You Being Served? Have you heard of that one?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Basically, it takes place in a department store, and there are two departments. There's the ladies and the men's, and they're put in the same like floor in the same room, and it's just this constant battle between them. And there's like a gay guy he doesn't say he's gay, but that he's gay, kind of a thing. You got one chick, she's older, but her hair color changes every time there's a new episode. So it's always fun. And the way that they interact with each other and like the jokes and stuff and the quips, it's so perfect that even today it stands up, which is not always the case with television. It never really, doesn't age very well, but like watching this and I'm like, oh my God, that is so funny. And it still works today.
It's interesting that you say that it stands up to today's like stuff and standards. It's because it came out in 1972.
Yeah.
Like that's a long time ago.
It's a totally crazy. Yeah, it's way longer, but it's so I don't know, the humor is just like so spot on. And it's done the cool thing about that show is it was filmed in front of a live audience. So you were getting like actual laughter and then them reacting to the audience as well, which was really unique and different.
My wife and I have been watching a show that's called The Miss Pat Show. It's made for Black Entertainment TV. But it's shot in front of a live audience, so it's really interesting when something really funny happens. Like you can hear just this one lady or this one man, guffawing as hard as they can. It's so funny because it's completely like candid, it's real and it's raw and I like it. But it's a really funny show. Just be warned if you are sensitive to the N-word, and if you're not Black, don't say it. And so they do say it a lot. So just to be aware. It's really funny though. So
I love Black humor and Black comedies and stuff.
Black humor.
Undercover Brother. It's one of my favorites.
I've never seen that one.
What?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. God. It's like you took James Bond, but like turned it upside down into like African-American Afro type, like just spy work stuff. And it's so corny and cheesy that it's so funny.
Oh my God. Oh, it's a 2002 film.
Yeah. Right along there with, what's the other one? The airplane one with, it's not Airplane the movie. It's got, who's the famous Black rapper that smokes weed?
Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg, thank you. It's got Snoop Dogg in it. God, now I got to find it. Hold on.
I'm typing it up. I'm looking Snoop Dogg movies.
Snoop Dogg, airplane movie.
The airplane movie.
Soul Plane. It's called Soul Plane.
Oh, okay.
It's really? So good. There's there's one point where they're taxiing the runway and all the wheels on the airplane are super huge and they're spinny rims. So, yeah. And like at one point, Snoop Dogg's like, we need to get this shit going. So he like turns on the hydraulics and like the plane's like bouncing like up and down. And it passes next to like this Air Texas one where the Texas airline has like giant bullhorns on it. And everyone inside the airplane is like buckling up and like locking their windows. It's so like, it's just so stupid that it's so funny.
Oh my God. I can appreciate some stupid comedy.
Yeah, it's pretty like on par.
Like, I think you and I grew up in the time where movies like that and movies like White Chicks and what is it? Like American Pie and stuff like that. Like all that was like the type of comedy that was kind of cringe, but like it's so funny for no reason. So we definitely grew up in that age bracket where it's like, well, there's those kind of movies, and like if they were to be released today, they would get so much backlash.
Oh, so much.
So much.
Like, okay, so during Halloween of last year, some like friend couple got together and recreated the exact looks from White Chicks from when they like first step out of the car. And I'm like, oh my God, is that the bros? Like, is that the Wayans bros? Or is that like someone else? But they did it so well that I'm like, All right, yeah. Like, this is so cool. I wish I'd seen that in person, but like the clips were good enough, so I'll take it.
That's great.
Yeah. Anyways, it has nothing to do with our topic today.
It's okay. We always go off on a tangent, and
Side tangents.
I'm very happy to be back and doing side tangents with you. So
it's always fun. I always enjoy it. So this particular episode, Reconnecting in the Fandom, is a unique style that I haven't done before. I've toyed with the idea, but I've never actually put it into play. So this is going to be a 2-part episode. 1 part being us discussing it, and 2 part being you are the one providing us with content. I'll go over that here right now. We're calling this a call to action episode. So we're going to be going over topics related to what we're going to be discussing today. And at the end of each topic, we have a question regarding the mini topic that we're discussing. We're going to ask ourselves the question and answer it to our best. But we also want you, the listener, to answer the question and email us back. So at the end, I think there's 8 questions in there. So what we want you to do is, after done listening to the episode, we want you to go back, and I'll create a document for you guys so you can refer to these questions. And I want you to answer these questions to your best knowledge of how you perceive it, and then send it back with the subject line being reconnecting in the fandom - call to action. I know it's a really long subject, but it helps me determine the difference between fan mail and other stuff. And so the idea is we'll talk it from our point of view, but then for those who are trying to reconnect in the fandom, we want to understand it from your point of view. And what are your suggestions and ideas of how to do things? Because the more we get from the listeners, the better chance it's going to be for someone who's listening in for the first time, or for someone who might be just trying to reconnect in the fandom but wants to get a different opinion other than ourselves.
Yeah.
So reconnecting in the fandom. Whether you've been away for a while or you're just starting your journey, reconnecting in the furry fandom can feel exciting, a little intimidating, and incredibly rewarding. In this episode, we talk about ways to discover what made the furry fandom special to you and how to find your place in it today. The fandom is constantly evolving, and there's always room for people to come back, start fresh, and explore at their own pace. If you've ever wondered whether the fandom is still right for you, this conversation is meant to be encouraging, inspiring, and remind you that a connection can happen in many different ways. So we're going to explore those ways.
Adventure is out there. Don't come for me, Disney. Don't come at me.
I was thinking Adventure Time and
Adventure Time.
BMO.
Oh my God, I love
BMO's going to be our guide. BMO. Yes. I keep seeing BMO pop up here and there, but it's not inherently related to Adventure Time. It's just BMO is there, and I'm like, what? Or I'll see a word and it says BMO in it, and I'm like, Adventure Time.
I love BMO. BMO's so cute. I have a little BMO plush somewhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I want to get a little BMO device and just put it on my desk to have.
Get a BMO tattoo.
Oh, man.
Are you afraid of needles, Space?
No, I'm not afraid of needles, but I changed my mind so much that I would want more one of those that you can stick on and then it lasts 3 weeks and then you take it off.
I mean, I'm sure you could probably find a BMO long-lasting, temporary tattoo.
Probably. I could put it on my back, so it'd be like a tramp stamp. So it's
you should get BMO falling on their batteries tattoo, because there's that episode where they change their batteries, but they yoink out the batteries and they fall onto new ones. So essentially they die for a half a second.
Oh my God.
It's so funny.
I should get a back tattoo. If it's going to be a tramp stamp, it's got to be BMO peeking up. So it looks if I have my underwear, it looks like it's peeking up over the underwear.
Yes.
When I'm bending down, it looks like BMO's peeking up at you.
Somebody would do a double take. Okay, somebody would do it and be like, "Is that fucking BMO coming out of your ass?"
Yes.
It's not a tramp stamp from you could be a plumber. Be a plumber. You just bend down and then it's you're expecting the traditional plumber's crack, or some scandalous actual tramp stamp, and it's just BMO.
It's just BMO. Good old BMO.
Oh, BMO.
All right. So our first topic to go over is why people drift away and why that's okay. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. That's just how it was worded.
It's funny because I didn't even realize that you rhymed until like you
I
said it. And I was like, oh, like really does. You're just that talented.
I guess. I'm not gonna exploit my talents and say, oh yeah, that's my talent.
Yeah, I just rhyme. It just happens.
So why don't you go over some of the bullet points for this particular topic and we'll kind of discuss them.
Perfect. So why people drift away and why that's okay, because I wanted to rhyme a little too. So it can be as simple as life changes, burnout, the shifting of interests. Those are all very human. And I mean, even though in the furry fandom, we all have our personas that are obviously not human, we are inside very human. So like I said, life changes, burnout, shifting interests. Sometimes you outgrow certain spaces, but still love like the creativity behind it. And again, that kind of does correlate with your life changes and stuff. Giving yourself permission to step back in and or return. That's a thing that we can talk about. So I guess to give a couple examples for life changes or burnout. So for example, for me, as most of you know, I have not been on the show for a couple months.
Shock.
Shocking. Anyway. We need like surprise music. Just, oh no. I don't know. Anyway, so I haven't been on the show for a while, and most of it I think was a bit of a personal choice. I was having some stuff happen personally within my life and whatnot that I felt the need to step back a little bit, and in doing so, I kind of stepped away from the fandom a little bit. I've had some some life things, and in turn had a little bit of burnout, but I am stepping back into it and dipping my toes per se into getting back into like podcasting more. I'd like to stream more. I'd like to do some more meetups. I'd like to reconnect with some people that I haven't spoken to in a while, like within the fandom and within the Straight from the Muzzle community and group. So that's my plan for the near future. But just so you know, like it's okay to step back a little bit because sometimes life gets in the way, and that's totally okay. It's kind of like you have a really good friendship with somebody if you haven't spoken to them in like months, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I remember that guy. Let me text him or like give him a call. And they're like, hey, what's up? And you guys are fine. There's no beef. There's no stress or whatever. It's like, hey, man, I had a lot of stuff go on, but like, what's up with you? The furry fandom, in my perspective, is very much like that. It's not going away anytime soon. There's no law or anything that's going to be passed like, you can't be a furry. Nah, there's always going to be the furry fandom, and it's always going to be there to come back to. It's kind of like Hannah Montana in her one in the Hannah Montana movie. It's like, you'll always find your way back home. Space
I always wonder if Miley Cyrus has
listen, I love Hannah Montana, and she's coming back
again. Hannah Montana all grown up.
Hannah Montana.
I buzz my head, y'all. No.
Oh, that's Britney Spears.
I thought she did it too, though.
I don't think
she like buzz her hair in like the Wrecking Ball video.
It. Oh well, I don't think she buzzed it. I think she just chopped it. I don't remember what she looks like actually. I'll look into that.
Wrecking Ball.
Did you want to discuss like shifting interests or anything, or outgrowing certain spaces while I look stuff up?
Yeah. So sometimes in life, I feel like this is like a birds and the bees discussion. Sometimes in life, a boy likes a girl and they like to do it together. No.
Sometimes it's the same sex. So sometimes it's, two girls and two boys.
Sometimes it's a female to male and a male to female.
Sometimes it's non-binary and they just go by they, them.
Yeah. Sometimes
it's a cryptid.
Sometimes it's your water bottle. An inanimate object.
A water bottle?
Sometimes a man walks up to a water tower and says, "Let's be in love."
What?
Oh, I love your long legs. Well, because water towers are huge. They're like super tall. They got super tall, long legs. You've never heard of people falling in love with inanimate objects?
Wait, I'm not a water tower.
I was just thinking of like the first thing that came to my head. And I was thinking water balls, and I'm like, oh, water towers.
Oh my God.
Can you just imagine like he's just like stroking, he's like, oh, I love how long your legs are. He's like striking, he's taking his hand, he's like stroking it up, and some like families walking by and they're like, honey, keep your head down and keep walking.
Content warning, water towers are sexy.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, apparently they are.
I'm never going to look at a water tower ever the same way again.
Okay, so Side tangenting. We're going to do that a lot, apparently,
Again.
this episode. Haven't you ever been on like a road trip and you've seen those like giant power lines that look like a woman?
Huh?
Like you could tell it has like a dress and everything.
What?
Okay, I'm going to pull this up and you're going to be like, okay, I know what you're talking about.
What?
Power line towers that look like
I'm
people.
now deeply concerned for Space's interests. I don't judge, though. I'm just a little concerned.
I just see things differently than other people do.
You just have a creative mind.
It's just kind of like the way that it's not necessarily that they look like a woman, but it's just kind of like, you know how they do like outlines of a woman on like a bathroom stall? It kind of looks like the way that they structure the tower for the power line kind of looks like that. So
Okay.
when I'm driving past them, I think, oh, hey, there's the woman. Okay, there it is.
I've heard like the little oil rigs and like little oil machines like out in the field somewhere. Those look like little dinosaurs to me.
Okay, so look at this one. See, it looks like it's like a dress. So the top with the shoulders and then the side straps going down into a dress.
I guess.
So when I pass by them, I think, oh, it's a woman, she's carrying all the power.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like a new world outlook like on things. I feel like I need to go on like a
look
walk
at structures and just be like, it's kind of like when you're looking at clouds in the sky and you're like, oh yeah, that looks like an animal, and oh wait, that looks like an airplane. Look at common structures and see what it looks like to you. Like sometimes I'm looking at the wall like in my room and I see like indentations and I'm like, that looks just like Thomas Jefferson, or just something like that. But it's obviously not.
Specific.
But it's just seeing things differently.
Most people would say like a face.
I know. Well,
or like you're like, nope, Thomas Jefferson.
Well, I have seen one in my wall that looks like Thomas Jefferson.
You're like, matter of factly.
Yeah, exactly. I have another one that looks like Florida. But, it's neither here or there. So for people in the fandom, you drift away in many different ways. It can happen consistently, but you don't see it as it happening. And it can happen because you just need to take a step away. Life events being like, family emergencies, maybe something dramatic happened in your life and it's just too much right now. And the fandom is just really not your priority. A lot of people in the fandom kind of take the fandom as a lifestyle and as a priority. And they put it pretty high up on the pedestal where everything else in life kind of just trickles down below that or revolves around it. But it's not necessarily like the thing. But then sometimes those things down below start to kind of spin out of control and they start to do things that are causing structural issues to the pedestal, and then the fandom kind of starts to fall down with everything else. And so at that point, what you thought was like the most important thing in your life is not necessarily the most important thing anymore. And so a lot of people go through this. A good way to kind of think about this is depression. Depression could be considered a way of drifting away from the fandom. Maybe you're feeling depressed because you can't find anyone or because someone has a fursuit and you can't afford one. And so you're thinking, okay, if I can't afford this and I can't afford anything else, what's the point of the fandom? And then they kind of start to drift away. There's so many different ways that people drift away from the fandom. It's almost impossible to calculate all the different ways of doing it. But at one point in time, I'm pretty sure that any one of our listeners have gone through this particular symptom. I'm calling it a symptom because it's not necessarily a permanent thing. It can be for some. I've heard people like quit and have never seen them again. And then I've heard people rage quit and they come back literally within an hour. So it's different for everyone. Certain spaces within the fandom can be easily outgrown. So maybe at the beginning, like for me, I really liked watching like fursuit dancing videos and stuff. But now
I love fursuit dancing.
Everyone does it. And everyone does it on TikTok. And it's always just like the weird angle of like putting your phone on the corner of like some cement embankment thing. And then you're dancing in front of like whatever. And there's people walking in the background. It's its own thing, but everyone does it. So it doesn't really feel special to me anymore. So for me, I've kind of outgrown fursuit dancing videos. I don't quite like them as much as I did before. That's an example of kind of growing out of a specific space within the fandom itself. The other thing that I've kind of grown out of is fursuit dance competitions. I like going and watching them, but let's just be honest, everyone does the exact same style. There is nothing different. It's like the modern smartphone. All of them look the exact same. There's no difference. Everyone's always doing some sort of techno, some sort of like dubstep, something, but it's all the same look. Rarely have I ever seen a dance competition where someone's doing, I'm trying to think of what it's called. It could be considered as like modern influential dancing, where you're dancing to how you feel in the music. So it doesn't necessarily have
interpretive dance.
Interpretive dance, yeah. So interpretive dance doesn't technically meet up with the beats, which a lot of dances do. They always meet on the beats or the sub beats, but interpretive dance is different because it's more flowy and unique. And so I kind of like those things, but I don't ever see it. And unfortunately,
let me see like furry Swan Lake.
That would be so cool.
Let me see that. That'd be really cool.
But like, when I go and I see these dance competitions, they're all the same. And it's always like a really popular person that wins. It's never like the underdog or someone that just went out there to, try their best or whatever. It's always like the same popular person that wins. And it's like, well, that's no fun. I feel like competition should be more general. And then the judges never really make any sense. Sometimes they have a judge that has nothing to do with dancing whatsoever, but they're popular in the fandom. So sure, we're going to make him a judge, kind of like judges on celebrity shows and stuff. So for me, that's a space that I've kind of just walked away from because it's not something that really entices me anymore, but I'll still attend. It's just not like, yes, I love it kind of a thing. So there's different things that people grow out of. Art could be a very big one. Artists will start out with one style. And then if you look at their art style, like over the course of 10 years or 5 years or a couple of years, you've seen that their style has changed. Dear Dog is one of those as a quintessential example. From the first time I met her, her style was different, but I liked it. And then over time, and she's been with us for like 10 plus years, her style has dramatically improved and increased. And now that I look some of her art pieces, it's nowhere near what she did before. So she's kind of grown out of where she was, but not in a bad way. It's just she's grown into a new style that works for her, and it works really well. So sometimes drifting away from the fandom isn't necessarily drifting away like you're not in the fandom anymore. It could be as drifting away from a specific thing in the fandom, but that's not a bad thing because then that means you can pivot and go for something else. So I think what's most important here is that you need to always give yourself permission to step back and also to return. There's no pressure.
The furry fandom is supposed to be a fun and like welcoming and creativity space. It's supposed to be like happy. And obviously every fandom has like their drama, but it's supposed to be a good safe space. So if it doesn't feel that way, and if it doesn't like bring you joy, step back for a little bit. Like I said earlier, it'll always be there.
Yeah, it's always there. I have little projects that I do outside of the furry fandom. There are things like I have like little craft projects. Like I put together like a little scene. It was really cute. It took me like 2 days to do, but it was a ton of like tiny little pieces. I do these to kind of help me compartmentalize. I can never say it like as a full word. Compartmentalize?
I'm not sure if is that the word you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying it right. And I'm sure someone's like, Space, it's not that hard. Compartment. Let me just see if I can find the way that it's spelled.
Find the way.
Compartmentalize. Yeah, that is how you do it. So it's dividing sections or categories, essentially. And so for me, when I'm doing like little things that help me put things into tiny little categories and then putting them together, that's my way of resolving an issue. It's not necessarily an issue that I'm talking about or I'm feeling, but it helps me resolve something. And so it's giving my brain something different to think about other than what's going on. But with something like giving yourself permission to step back and return. So I was saying that like with social media, it was very common back when I was first in. It's still kind of common now, but it's not as widely seen. You'll hear the term or the phrase rage quit. And that's generally when someone's like, I'm done with the fandom. I just can't do it anymore. And they'll quit. They'll leave their accounts where they are, or they'll delete them or deactivate them, but then they'll literally be back within a day or two. That's typical responsive rage quitting.
I think they call that crashing out now.
Crashing out? Is that what they're calling it now?
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, I think they call that crashing out now.
Overall, it's important that you say it's okay to quit, but it's also okay to leave the door open to go back because you never know. There might be something that happens in life that turns you back into the fandom because you need something again. The fandom is, like Paradox said, a safe space for all. And maybe when you've taken that time away, whether it's a couple of days, couple months, couple of years, you may find a time where you need that safe space again. And the fandom is always there and that door is always open.
Actually, you know what? I have an analogy here. Hang on. A rough estimate of how many like fans of the furry fandom and or members of the furry fandom would you say there is globally? A rough estimate.
I actually have done some research on this Collectively, I believe there's an estimated between 800,000 to 2 million furries around the world.
Okay, cool. So, and like I said, this is just an analogy, and my wife likes to make this comparison, and I'm going to make a much smaller number because what you just said was like 2 million.
Yeah.
Okay, you cannot realistically put 2 million people like in a single room.
Oh, hell no.
Because that's too big. So let's shrink it down. So let's say, for example, I have about 6,000 followers on TikTok. Put 6,000 people in a room. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that, like, I don't know them personally, but here's the analogy and or comparison that I'm making is that if you feel like the furry fandom's not clicking right now, that's fine, because you can always come back, and there's always, like, again, we're doing a smaller amount, like 6,000 more people to explore, to, you know, get to know, to build friendships, relationships, whatever. Because if the first 6,000 people didn't work out, that's okay. That's all right. There are 6,000, if not more, people that you can get to know and be a blank slate for.
That's true. And like, it's interesting. So like, I almost feel like in this fandom, there's always someone that is just like you or similar to you in interests and how things in life are going, which works out really well because it's kind of hard to find that in reality because there's so many differences. But like, I always feel kind of like the fandom is for the outcast, because the outcast never felt, you know, comfortable where they were, and they came in and they found other people just like them.
I agree. Very, very nice.
So the question we have for us, and the question that we have for our listeners to answer, is, have you ever taken a break from the fandom, and did anything surprise you or change when you returned?
Would you like me to answer that one first, or you?
You go first.
So, obviously, as I stated earlier, I have taken a break. I've taken several breaks throughout my lifetime within this fandom, because I think I've been part of the fandom for more than half of my life. I'm in my 30s now, just beginning my 30s. And I've left, I've come back, I've left, I've come back. And I think each time that I come back, I think I learn a little bit more about myself. And I learn, like I've said probably 100 times already, it's always there. So even if I leave for a little bit and I come back, it's always there, and it's always going to surprise me with new stuff. There's always going to be some new fun trend, or even a little bit of drama, and that's okay, because every fandom and every walk of life has some drama. But like, it's always going to surprise me in some way. It's going to show me something new, or it's going to be like, hey, you know what? You remember this that you loved? Here's some nostalgia. So I don't know. For me, that's just like, if I come back, that's just how I guess I experience it. I'm always doing something new, or coming back to something that I love. And like I mentioned, like coming back to this podcast, I think this podcast has become like an anchor for me in this fandom, because a lot of my interests and stuff kind of really kicked off within the fandom with this podcast before I was even a member of staff or a co-host or anything like that. I used to be just a run-of-the-mill, not that you guys are run-of-the-mill, but like just run-of-the-mill. I'm just a normal guy, like just a normal guy just listening to the podcast. And now here I am, and I'm like, wow, this podcast really made the fandom for me feel like home. So like, I'm always just coming home to my friends, my found family that I have through this podcast. They're always going to be there.
I find that that's really unique that you said an anchor. I've read from emails that same kind of like analogy, where they feel like the podcast is an anchor to the fandom for them, and they feel more at home, or they feel more connected than ever, or they feel like their feelings have been validated where they couldn't get it validated anywhere else. So it's truly a thing. The podcast does anchor myself to the fandom as well. I've been doing this since 2012, started first as for media. The purpose was to bring people together and also help navigate in the fandom. Reason being, I was new and I had no idea where to go. I didn't know where to get fursuits. I didn't know where to get artists. I didn't know how to get a ref sheet. I didn't really know how to connect with people. And so I used my talents of creating social media like pages and platforms to bring people together. And then I created a live show where we discuss such things. Since then, we branched and turned the show for media into Straight from the Muzzle. So they're the exact same thing. They're just two different formats. One was a live video, and this one's now a podcast form. It's a lot easier. You can take it with you in your pocket. That was one of the things that I consider, is because a lot of people had to watch it on YouTube, which takes up a lot of bandwidth and memory. And some people don't have unlimited plans, so they can't afford to watch, a 1 or 2 hour video, which will take up all their memory. So switching over to a podcast format allowed us to better cater to an audio download, which was less memory and less of a hassle for the user or the listener. So it's adapted over time. Because of what goes on in the show and in the podcast itself, I myself have to take what I call breaks from the fandom constantly. I still do it to this day. I do it because I burn out. I burn out really easily. I get overwhelmed with tiny little things and sometimes just a few things. And I really kind of fall into this depressive state where I don't feel good enough. And so while the fandom is supposed to be like a safe space, for me, the fandom is all about, like, in my mind, it's a free flowing, never ending space of creativity. But sometimes I feel like I don't have the capacity to create. It's a stress that I am constantly dealing with as a podcaster and a producer, because we have to constantly be pumping out episodes that work for you guys. But that also means that we also have to constantly be creating nonstop. So that is a stress that makes me not necessarily leave the fandom, but just step away from the fandom. So some of you might notice that I'm not as active in the Straight from the Muzzle and Friends chat. It's not because I don't want to be. It's just because at one point I was super active in it, but it was taking time away from other things. So now what I'm doing is I'm kind of pushing things outwards, and I'm having more of a focus for myself and what makes me happy and things of that nature. The fandom is always there, like you said, and I always come back to it every single time. And every time I come back to it, something is different. It could be the way I think about things. So sometimes when I feel like, do people actually listen to the show? I wonder how many people actually subscribe to us. Are we that big enough? Are we just what do you call it? Connecting to a niche part of the fandom? We're definitely not a household name. I know that for a fact, but I'm not trying to be a household name. If I wanted to be a household name, all my life would be towards this podcast. And that means I wouldn't have a life. I'd be constantly, advertising and posting all that stuff. And I just don't have the time for that now because I have other things that I want to enjoy. But what brings me back is each and every time I always have a new perspective on something that we've either talked about or we haven't talked about. And that's either because I'm reading emails from fans, or I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing what people are talking about in general. And then I'll pop in and I'll have a little conversation and then, kind of pop back out and just do whatever. So there are little things that bring me back, and then things that help me see new perspectives of the fandom. And like I said, it's a constant thing that is for me. For some, it might just be I'm stepping away and then I'm good for like 6 months. For me, it's almost like a monthly basis, but it's not, I don't see it as like an issue. I see it as a way of recycling back into what's the word? What am I thinking here?
Sometimes you got a factory reset and then come back.
Exactly. It's just like that. And it happens quite often for me, but I'm used to it and it works. So you're not alone. If you're stepping away from the fandom and you're doing it quite often, you're not alone in doing it. It's actually, I think it's a very healthy thing to do. So
I agree.
So that's a question for you guys. The first question is, have you ever taken a break from the fandom, and did anything surprise you or change when you return? So I hope to hear answers from you guys. The next topic is rediscovering what you love about the fandom. Things like this would be like art, characters, storytelling, creativity. It could be the sense of belonging and a shared imagination, and looking back at what you originally pulled you in. So rediscovering is a really interesting thing to think about, because I think back out what brought me in to the fandom. Everyone knows it's porn, but it was mostly because it was like a fursuit sex video is what it was. But
not yes.
From the initial awakening spawned me to look for other videos that weren't necessarily sex related. And I know a lot of people don't agree with this particular maker, and I agree with you too. I'm with you guys 100%. But back in the day, they did produce a lot of really fun videos, and that's what kind of brought me into the fandom. And that was Don't Hug Cacti. Not only were they a fursuit maker, but they made really good videos. There's this one song, I'm trying to think what it is. I can't think of the name, but there were a couple of key fursuiters in there. And every time I hear the song now, I think of that video and I think of the good times and when I was just starting out in the fandom. So while Don't Hug Cacti is a terrible name now, the moments that I discovered with it aren't. And so I like to think back on those things that helped me reimagine what it was like when I first started the fandom and why I enjoyed it so much that I do now from time to time go back and watch those videos again if I can find them, because it was a happy moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creativity in the fandom is boundless. So I know a lot of people say like the sky's a limit, but that's not actually the case. It's literally no limit to how the creativity works. You know, we all came in, we all had like our crazy drawings, our crazy ideas of what our persona was going to look like. And that's obviously changed now.
Listen, if you can find a lady in freaking telephone towers, you can make whatever the heck you want.
I was just thinking that, like, you know, like, what is it? Is it
34?
rule 34? If you think of it,
there's porn of it.
Yeah, it definitely exists. So it's funny because the reason I was thinking of the tower thing is that we were watching just like a 30-second clip of this guy from like the TLC series of like obsessions and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is this guy who was in an intimate relationship with 13 inflatable animals, like the kind you see at conventions. So like pool toys and stuff. And like it shows like clips of him like sitting on the couch and feeding them. And he's like, sometimes I like to bathe them. And I'm like, I can't tell if this is like real or if someone like really like is legitimately doing this. But at the same time, funny. I could see it actually being a thing. And it kind of made me smile because of how stupid and ridiculous it was. But there are people out there that do that. And you know what? If that's your thing, let your freak flag fly. Go for
as long as you're not hurting yourself or other people, I personally don't care what the hell you do. And in the same vein, if I had a Roomba, I would totally put little googly eyes on it and give it a little name and then feed it crumbs once in a while. I would. I'd be like, are you getting enough crumbs? Here you go.
You look a little deflated. Let me pump you up.
Like, oh, you're looking a little peckish there.
You got some wrinkles. I've got some Botox for you. And you just go, you just blow it back up and the wrinkles are gone.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's funny because like my younger sister, she has a Roomba and I didn't know. And it was like running around her like house, like cleaning. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what's its name? And she gave me this look. She was like, what? I'm like, does it have a name? She's like, yeah, Roomba.
And I'm like, googly eyes on it.
I know. I told her. I'm like, come on. But like her husband's like, no, that's dumb. And I'm like, you guys are dumb.
I once bought 2 giant googly eyes and put them on the fridge at work. So that when you walk past it, you have to see it. And it just gives it personality. I basically just anthropomorphize the refrigerator.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The fandom itself is a sense of belonging and shared imagination. So the fandom came at a perfect time in my life where I wasn't feeling great about my life. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do career-wise. I think I also that's when I came out as gay. So that was a tumultuous time for me as well. So going into this, I found people that were just like me. You know, I knew that I was different. I mean, I know now that I have Klinefelters and that caused all the learning issues that I had in school. But when I was growing up, it was like there was something seriously wrong with me, or I had ADD, or I was autistic or something. So I always just felt like there was something wrong with me. But then when I found the fandom and I discovered it, I found there were other people that were just like me in the same boat. And that made me feel reassured because then I didn't feel so outcasted anymore. I didn't feel like, you know, this was my problem. This is my pain. Other people are going through this as well. And I feel reassured. And so when I fall out of the fandom, I always rethink about the things that brought me into it to begin with, and the reassurance and knowing that it's so diverse that there are people just like me who think like me, who have the same interests as me, and they'll always be there. So that's one of the cool things about the fandom itself that aren't necessarily, I mean, I'm sure you can find them in like cosplay conventions too, but I just feel like the fandom itself is so unique that it kind of just makes everything else just fade away in a weird way.
I agree. There really is something like deeply magical about the furry fandom because like we've mentioned hundreds and dozens of times on other episodes, is that it is truly unique. It's not based off of anything. It's just a modge podge and like melting pot per se. You know what? It is what America is supposed to be.
Yes.
The furry fandom is what America is supposed to be. It's supposed to be all of these people from different races, walks of life, you know, and everything, and professions or not, you know, young, old. It's all just supposed to be all these people, everything. And that's what's beautiful about the furry fandom, is that most other fandoms are not like that, because again, most other fandoms, like you have the Star Wars fandom, you have anime and all
Yeah,
this
the
other stuff. Like,
tankies. You ever heard of the tankies?
the what?
The tankies?
What the fuck is a tanky?
It's a Thomas the Tank Engine enthusiast.
Oh, there's a fandom for that?
Yeah, remember I asked you, I'm like, there's a fandom for that?
What?
So when I thought of that, I'm like, oh my God, that's right. The tankies. I totally forgot about them.
What? Well, anyway, I guess there's Thomas the Tank Engine fandom, but what's beautiful about the furry fandom is that it is almost completely original, and there's different, I want to say, branches or subclasses, or even, like, I don't know, for funsies, subreddits per se of the furry fandom that intertwine and interconnect, because you have furries like myself. I love Star Wars, so I guess I would like things for people that are in the Star Wars fandom. I enjoy some niche anime. Like, there are some animes that, like, I could connect with people that are for anime stuff. I love My Little Pony, and My Little Pony can coincide with the furry fandom because it's anthropomorphic ponies. So, and who doesn't like My Little Pony? It's good stuff. But yeah, just stuff like that just intertwines.
Since you said, because I'm really liking Star Wars, I have these metallic, they're painted on metallic or printed on metallic, but they're Star Wars creatures with lightsabers, and I sent you a picture of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found these at like a Ren fair. They're super cool.
These are so cool.
I like some symmetry, so I got 2 bears, and then I got 1 red panda and 1 as a rabbit. So
I love it.
They're on, like, I have a wall of art, different types of art that I've picked up at conventions, and fan art as well that I have. And I always look to this wall when I'm feeling down.
Aw.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the question for this particular topic is, what initially sparked your interest in the furry fandom that made you feel special? What brought you back and why?
Ooh, what initially sparked my interest in the furry fandom?
You already know my story. Man. Porn. We got that.
We already know your space, and it was porn.
But I'll tell you what, the interest that brought me into the fandom was that it was different. It was something completely different. It was something I've never seen before. Up until that video, I have never heard of a furry. I had no idea what a fursuit was. I didn't even know this community existed until I found that sex video, which was hot. I'm not going to lie. But from that, I started searching everywhere, looking for videos, and I learned a lot all at once. It was chaotic, but I learned so much, and I wanted to be a part of it because it felt like something that was me. Like, I'm outgoing. I have lots of fun. I have lots of love. I have things that I could give back to, society, and I could do it through this particular community. And that is what spawned my interest into the fandom, was that it was something completely new, but it was so interesting and fascinating that it drew me in. It was like a tractor beam, from like the Star Destroyer. Yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, seriously. And then, when I'm feeling down and I've taken a step away, what brings me back and why? It's the same reason. It's because it's so unique. Now, when I'm looking at, society and things, I see a tail and I'm like, it's a furry. They may not be a furry, but they're wearing like, the Hot Topic tails or whatever. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just rediscovering it. And then it reminds me of why I found it or how I found it and how excited I was. And that then again reignites a flame inside of me. And I just go with it. That's why it brings me back.
I agree with everything, and I think I can feel relatively the same way. I think what brought me or sparked my interest in the furry fandom is that, like, fortunately and unfortunately, I had like
fortunately. Fall fortunately.
Fall fortunately.
That's what I heard you say.
No, I said fortunately and unfortunately.
Oh, okay. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's not a phrase.
No, anyway, well, it is now. Anyway, so when I discovered, I think, like, the furry fandom, I think I was in high school. I think I was still in high school. Anyway, I didn't have a lot of access to the internet until like high school, because it was like something that I really desperately needed for like assignments and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a whole lot of access to the internet. And when I finally got access to the internet, obviously my whole world opened up instantaneously, and I met people online, and I met and like I saw different things and stuff, and I explored and I looked up, different things and interests or whatever, and one thing led to another, and I found like a couple fursuit videos like on YouTube, and I'm like, what are these? And I'm like, oh my god, I love animals, and I like, this is cool. And I watched different like convention videos of like people like, oh, I went to like this furicon, or I went to this, or like I went to, and I'm like, this is so cool. And I'm like, I want to go. I'm like, these people look really neat. Like they look like they have, like we mentioned before, similar interests to things that I like. And I'm like, wow, what are these? And I ended up making, I think at that time I was already drawing like anthropomorphic animals and such. And so that wasn't necessarily new. But like when I found out that other people did stuff like that, I'm like, that is so new. So I started doing stuff like that. And un momento, my wife is getting canes from the door.
Oh no, I heard the door open. I figured it was your wife.
Yep.
Oh, like Raising Cane's?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna give it a go, see if my tummy can handle it. For anybody listening, I had an unfortunate tummy bug earlier this week, and I'm really famished, and I'm gonna try some food here soon.
Some
but anyway,
fried food.
Yeah.
Because nothing settles the stomach like fried food.
Listen, okay. Side tangent, but listen, I have been really good in eating and stuff like that. I actually ate a sub sandwich 2 days in a row, and it did really well. Like I got Subway, so I think I might be ready for some extra food. I've also tolerated stuff like chicken and stuff, so I think I'm all right. I had a turkey sandwich with some cucumber and lettuce and mayo. I think I'll be fine. It'll be okay.
We'll find out at the end of this
episode. Anyway, we shall see. This will be a test run. But anyway, so I found some videos on YouTube, and I thought that was really cool. I think I found also creators like Uncle Kage, and again, back to it was the time, and before we knew that Two Griffin was a piece of shit. I liked him at one point, so we don't like Two Griffin anymore.
The land before Two Griffin.
The land before Two Griffin. Oh, back then, Two Griffin and Uncle Kage were doing like stand-up story time and like comedy shows, and it was funny as hell. I loved listening to them, and I was like, wow, it's so cool. So that I think that was like a lot of my openness and like what opened that door for me for the furry fandom. And I really liked watching those, and I loved watching the fursuit dance competitions, and I loved watching people make fursuits and learning what those were. So that was like my opening, like into it. And I think, like you said, like what brings me back is really just the continuous creativity and the love that people share just with each other's shared creativity and all that stuff. I think really just the creativity and stuff brings me back a lot. I'll be watching TikTok and some teenager is like, I made this out of like a box of rocks. Like, or you know what? No.
Yeah.
Tony Stark made this, out of a box of scraps in a cave. Like that's what I see in a lot of like the younger generations with this fandom, and it's so beautiful to see. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, you know what? This is what makes me proud to be part of the fandom, because it's so cool, so unique, and so original. And I love coming back to it. So yeah.
Well said. So the question again for you guys is, what initially sparked your interest in the furry fandom that made you feel special? What brought you back, and why? We look forward to hearing your results.
Absolutely.
The next thing is finding the community again. Why don't you go over these real quick?
All right, let me scroll. All right, finding community again. So joining conversations on platforms, a lot of them like we discovered, like TikTok, Fur Affinity, Blue Sky, and Bark, which I get, that's something I actually don't know what it is.
I do.
Excuse me, my new kitten is deciding to be a hellion. He's woken up from his nap. Come here, you little shit.
Kira on staff, she's like a huge advocate for Bark. Basically, so there have been like a lot of like social media-esque type apps that have tried to bring the fandom into like a thing, but none of them have ever been successful except for Bark. And Bark, so it's BARQ, it's a mobile social networking application. It's designed specifically for the furry community to connect, find local events, and join groups, also by making friends and meeting other like-minded people.
So is it an app?
So it's an app, but it's so successful. So the thing is, it's an app run by furries for furries. So that's cool. It's really well done. I have an account. I haven't done anything with it, but Kira keeps insisting that I connect into it. So I guess I might as well.
I'm going to download it. I'm going to do it.
Blue Sky is a really good opportunity. For Affinity, not as many people use For Affinity. It's still active, just not in the way that I remember it being active.
Yeah.
Most art these days are posted like on Instagram and Blue Sky and in Telegram groups.
Oh, yeah, Telegram. I say as if we don't use it almost on a daily basis.
Oh, Telegram.
Like,
what?
Wow. Oh, wow. Telegram.
It's like, so Telegram is my mode. It's like my number one mode of communication between people now. I hate texting. I love telegramming.
It's funny because like I like texting and I like telegramming. I viscerally hate Snapchat. I can't stand it's oh my god. I can't stand it. But I have it so that way I can like connect to people who use it. It's not my main mode of communication. I don't know. Maybe I'm old, maybe I'm a gray muzzle. I don't understand. I don't get it. Some other finding community again techniques. You can comment on art. You can even just observe at first. Like we mentioned earlier, you can if you like an artist, and we were talking about like artists like changing art styles and whatnot. For example, Deer Dog and whatnot. If you follow like Deer Dog, you can follow Deer Dog on their social medias and stuff. By all means, comment. Be like, hey, like I really like what you did, with this piece, or like, hey, I like this commission you did for so and so. You can follow that person that got a commission from Deer Dog and see what their, persona is like, other pieces that they got from other artists. Because that people post like, hey, I got this piece from this person or this piece from this person. That's how you can like really connect with other artists and stuff, see what they do, like the style that they do. I would say also sharing art, as mentioned. So on occasion, I feel a little artsy fartsy and I'll share my art on some platforms. And I'll be like, hey, give me your constructive criticism, or hey, like, what do you think about this? Or it's like, hey, you know what? I felt really inspired by something, and so I made this piece. And you can share like your art if it's based off of, or themed off of something. So, for example, my younger sister, she's really big into the Warrior Cats fandom. That's the book series that has to do with like cats that are part of clans and they have their own religion and stuff like that. Really great, really good book series. Also very heavy-handed within the furry fandom. A lot of furries like that book, an indoor book series. She'll share her artwork. Other people will also share that artwork within that group as well. And like I said, that's another fandom that's somewhat intertwined with the furry fandom. It connects somehow. So artwork in that way can connect. And yeah, you can just comment and communicate that way, share art. There's things like art trading. What's that thing that comes up every year? I can't remember what it's called. It's like Art Fight or something. Yeah, Art Fight. Art Fight's really great for people of all like skill sets of art and all medias of art. From my understanding, I've never done it, but I have friends that have participated in the past. So essentially, you pick like a theme. There's like a theme. There's like two different themes and two different teams.
And I'm like, pick a foot.
No, not feet. Not a foot. No. I'm not talking about feet here. No. Themes. So there's themes and different teams that you can join for Art Fight, and then you do like art, basically free art commissions for people. You take like their character, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to draw their character like doing, I think one year was like vampires versus werewolves or whatever. So let's like, oh, I'm going to make this character like vampire. And they do like either digital art, traditional art. I've seen people do stuff with felt or clay. Really interesting stuff. So the sky's the limit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just relogging back into Bark.
Oh,
I'm listening to you. I'm listening, but I'm also barking at the same time. I guess if you want to find me, you can find me at Jedi Knight Space, and that's KNIGHT SPACE.
Like a Jedi Knight.
That's legitimately like at Jedi Knight Space is one of my most current handles on across like platforms and stuff. It works, and it's also my email. And people are like, "Oh my god, you have such a cool email," and I'm like, "I know, that's why I made it."
Thanks. Appreciate that. I guess to piggyback off that and to close off the finding community again, just those small interactions can really help grow into friendships and relationships. Or even like, hey, you find this one particular artist and it's like, you know what, I think I love this art style and I would like every piece of my character to come from this artist forever. So sometimes that happens. I think I've really grown attached to Deer Dog's art style and like just her art in particular, and I love getting art pieces from her.
Yeah.
So she's definitely a freak.
I think she has told me once that like a good portion of her traffic is strictly because of staff and friends chat. So that's cool. Yep. That's really cool to get that.
Yep.
So the question here is, what platforms Sorry, I don't know why I paused there for a second. I paused on my own.
What?
I wrote this question. Let me try this again. What platforms, such as VR, Discord, Telegram, Facebook, Blue Sky, whatever, have worked best for you in meeting other furries recently? Do you have any tips for others in finding positive communities? So for me, I use a few of these. I use VR. I am not in VR actively. So I get on it like maybe once every 3 weeks or so. I have friends that do it weekly, if not daily, which I think is a little too much. Everyone needs to take space away from VR. VR is cool because it's, an augmented reality and whatever, but you also need to step back into actual reality, and because that's a healthy thing to do. But within VR, I was able to connect with other people that I've never met before, and some of the people in chat that I've never had a chance to really talk to. And it's really cool because it feels like I'm actually meeting them in person, but I'm not. I'm just virtually there, but I can give them hugs and we can have conversations and discussions. It's a totally new avenue of communicating with people. One thing I want to stress is that you do not need a VR headset to play VR. A simple computer will work just fine. You can play it on your phone. You can use VR like headsets. They're a little expensive and you need to do your research on them, but you don't need to have a VR headset to play the game or to interact with other people. In fact, sometimes I feel like using the browser or the computer version is a lot better than sometimes using it on the headset itself. So there's pluses and minuses for it. Discord's another good place. I don't really like Discord. I don't mind, like Discord's like thing is great for like gaming and stuff, but it has too many categories and too many like ways to customize things that it overwhelms me and it's just too much. The only time I use Discord is when Felix and I are in our own offices and we're playing a game together. So we just connect via like a call and that's about it. Otherwise, I don't really use it, but I do know that there's a ton of furry communities on Discord that are really active. And so if that's your thing, that's a really good avenue to pursue. Telegram, it's a great one, great for chatting, great for groups. You can find a lot of like convention chats on Telegram for like, even if you're not going to that convention or you can't afford it, you can still join their like discussion groups and meet people and talk with people that are like-minded and make friends. It's a great way to connect and see other people chat and whatnot. I sometimes will hop into one of those chats just to get ideas for episodes. So yeah, I'm strictly using them for episode creation. But, it's more or less like observation. Facebook is still one of the top 3 social media platforms in the world. It's still actively used. I myself don't use Facebook anymore. I log on to it for like maybe 5 minutes and then I go to like my alter accounts and use those more often. They're not furry related. They're like after dark accounts kind of a thing. But even then, I'm not on them for too long just because it's Facebook. It's old, it's whatever. But I do know that there are furry Facebook groups, local and online, that do really well in that space. So if that's something that works for you, then that's something I recommend pursuing. Blue Sky is the alternate to Twitter. It's better, but I feel like Blue Sky has still a lot of things they need to work on. For instance, discover mode. They have like 3 different timelines you can choose from. You have like ones you're following. You could create a timeline specific to like a hashtag, and then they have one that's called discover. But the problem with it, I don't think they figured out the coding on that, is when you hit discover, it shows everyone that you're following. It doesn't let you discover anything. So I'm not really sure why that's there. But it could be the algorithm. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong on it. But that is another avenue to pursue following people and finding people that are local or with like-minded interests. Yeah. So those are some recommendations I have. What about you?
Honestly, wow, Jesus, my voice.
Ditto. No.
yeah. My apologies. I was snacking on the Texas toast.
That's fair.
I was feeling a little peckish. Anyway, honestly, I think you covered everything, so I don't think I have really anything to add to that one, if I'm being honest.
That's fine. We don't have to answer every question, but fair. The listener does.
Yeah.
You have an assignment and it's due.
You have homework.
This is your homework.
Yep. We're the teachers.
Our next part of the category is participating in your own way. This one is closer to home for me because I feel like this one, I don't know how I can explain it. It's so personal to me that I want everyone else to understand Why? Oh shit! I just knocked over my water.
Oh
my Waterloo.
Your water broke. Rush him to the hospital.
I'm having
a baby.
Through his penis. That was a discussion you guys weren't part of. So.
Oh my god. I will explain while you clean up your water or drink.
Yeah, please do.
Now it is time for Nature Time with Paradox.
We were discussing hyenas, and I happened to drop the little tidbit that female hyenas have what is called a pseudopenis. Essentially, they have a phallus and or neophallus that they can retract and or extend. This is so awkward.
I know, but it's gotta be said.
It is funny. It's gotta be said. Anyway, so female hyenas, they have a pseudopenis, and they can urinate out of it. They can engage in sex with it. It's how they reproduce. They can give birth through it, and they can also establish dominance and mount males within the pack to, again, like I said, establish dominance. But yeah, female hyenas are technically, I guess, if you really want to get down to it, by human standards, either intersex or non-binary.
Interesting.
Kind of cool. Anyway.
Animal facts.
Yay!
That has been Nature Time with Paradox. Until next time.
Okay, going back into this. So there are 4 bullet points I want to go over too. They all kind of like transition together with each other. So it may sound like I'm talking about the same thing over and over again, but there's a reason for it. So first and foremost, and this is something we say a lot on episodes in the past, you don't need a fursuit or a fursona, surprisingly, to be a part of the fandom. That should be the first thing you think of. A lot of people think, oh, fursuits, I got to get one. And then they get one, and then that's just their thing. But you don't have to have anything to be a part of anything in the fandom. There's no membership. There's no fees. There's no expectations. There may be like societal expectations within the fandom.
There's no subscription.
Yeah, there's no like set in stone way to join. And in fact, there's not really a way to join the fandom. It's just you kind of coasted into it. That's kind of how it is. So getting a fursona or having a fursuit is a huge misconception on how some perceive what is needed to be a part of the community. You don't need a fursuit, but you also don't need a fursona. There are a lot of artists out there that create art for furries, but they themselves are not a furry. And they also go to conventions and have booths, but they're not a furry. They just create art because that's what they're good at. You don't have to be, I mean, it's weird. You don't have to be a furry to be in the fandom, but you can be in the fandom and participate as much as you want. Does it help to have a fursona? Yeah, it does. Because it's kind of like, you know, your identity in this world and this community, and it kind of becomes you and you absorb your name as if it's your own. So generally when I'm with a group of friends, if I've had people call me like by my real name, which is John, and it's like nails on a chalkboard because it's like, you know better. You're supposed to call me Space, not by my real name. So the fursona becomes a part of you for more or less for like the rest of your life, essentially. But it's not necessarily something that is required. So you don't have to worry about it. I've had people in chat, they'll be like,
it's optional.
I don't have a fursona name yet. I don't have a fursona as well. You know, ideas, and we'll throw out ideas. But in the end, I tell them, you know, when it comes to creating a fursona name and creating a fursona that represents you, only you know what is best. So you create something that works for you, and that is yours. That's the beauty of the fandom, is the creativity is endless. So there's that. Perhaps in the participating in the fandom, perhaps you're an artist and an influencer, a writer, or maybe even a gamer, but that doesn't mean you have to be any of those. Maybe you're a lurker, a cheerleader, a follower, or a leader, or maybe you're not any of those things. That's okay. The point is you don't have to be specifically anything to participate. Sometimes just leaving a comment on a post or replying to someone in chat is enough. In the end, it's the little things that add up and matter for people who seem to completely glaze over, not necessarily appreciate it. So, for instance, let's say you just joined a furry group, right? and you're excited, but you're super nervous and you're not sure how to really interact with some. Some people are go-getters and they just go straight off the bat and start posting whatever. And some of us, like myself, aren't. And we kind of lurk in the shadows. Things that you can do that do make a difference that a lot of people kind of often look over, but it does make a difference, is liking a post or commenting on it. Just doing that allows a person to see you and recognize you. And the more you do it, I wouldn't say like comment 100 times on one particular post, but I'm saying the more often you do this, people start to see you and get you, and you start communicating, and then you start making friends in that group. So that's one option. You could also like it. You could create a post and say, hey, I'm new here. I don't know what to expect in the fandom. Does anyone have any like suggestions of what I can do or things that I can look up to better help my introduction into this place? A simple question is just trying to figure out what you need to do in the fandom or asking a question in general is a really powerful statement. Making a post and saying, I'm a furry, I'm so excited to be here, great. You'll get some comments. You'll get some, but you won't get a lot. But when you post a question, that piques the brain. That makes people want to answer a question. And so when you do that, you're going to get a lot of engagement on there. You'll get some likes, some people telling you this, that, and the other. And then you'll start commenting against them. And then you start making these friends. So I think when you join a group or a conversation and you don't know really what to say, ask a question, because a question always has to be answered. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, obviously we don't know where God comes from, so we're not asking that question. But like in general, like it just in society in general, when you ask a question, it's human instinct to want to answer that question, which is why asking a question in general is more powerful than a statement.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Sharing your experiences, you can do this via video or picture using apps like Instagram and TikTok to bring your perspective of the fandom. So these are furries. I like to refer to TikTok as anyone can be popular in the fandom now. And you can just create a video and share it, and then other people start sharing it, and it just goes viral like crazy. I've seen new furries that I've never heard of have like 10 to 15,000 followers, and they post just a couple of videos, every once in a while. But people really like that, and they love it. So, and they're enjoying other people's takes on the fandom. You could do videos of what you did at a fur meet. You could interview people at a fur meet. You could...
Ooh, that's always cool.
Take pictures at the fur meet and then, write what you experienced during that picture. You could do what I did when I first started. I created videos of fur meets and then I would repost them onto the group. I would edit them together. I put music with it. So it kind of matched the mood of everything. And I really loved it. I kind of miss doing it, but it does take a lot of time to edit video, to be honest. And knowing what the editors go through with just doing audio, I don't want to do that again. But it's a lot of fun because then people get to see what a furry event looks like through your eyes, and then maybe spawns the idea from them, maybe I should do that too. And then they go and do it. So kind of like interacting using Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, sharing your videos, doing vlogs, whatever, that is a great way to get yourself into the door. And then the last thing to kind of keep in thought is that you could create a blog or a vlog. You can even become a journalist talking about your experiences in the fandom. You can become a musician and create your own space with your beats, instruments, and even words. You could even be that person that is there for the furry who's having a hard time in life and just needs a friend to remind them that they're not alone. You can literally be anything you want and do everything you want in the fandom, but you don't have to be something specific. There's this misconception that you have to be an artist, that you have to be a creator, that you have to do this in the fandom. That is not the case, and that is never the case. Sometimes just being there for someone is a thing. That's just what it is, but you don't have to be anything to be a part of the fandom. And this whole thing is that reason. I want people to understand you don't have to create. You don't have to be a podcaster. You don't need to be popular. You just need to be yourself. And that's what's most important. Absolutely. So the question is, what is something you do to participate in the fandom? My obvious answer is podcasting.
I mean, partially, I think my obvious answer is podcasting. So podcasting, you know what? I do a lot, actually. Like, not a lot, but I think more than I thought. So, like, anytime I go to, like, an event or whatever, or if I go to, like, a local coffee shop or local bookstore or whatever, and they have, like, a little bulletin board, I'm always putting, like, our little business cards that we made for the podcast, like up there
that's
somewhere. I'll put
cool.
yo, yeah, no, I have like over 100 cards, and I and I take like at least 10 of them like in my wallet, so that way if I'm out anywhere and if somebody's like, hey, like, you know, I'm looking for like a new podcast or whatever, like, here you go, here's the card, like,
bam.
Yeah, like I do that all the time, and I'll like I said, I'll put it up on like a coffee shop or something, like on the little bulletin board. Hell, I've even gone to the laundromat like a couple times, and I'll put it up there. I'm always trying to spread like just awareness and like, hey, like, you know, here's this podcast, like, come listen to it. So that's how I participate. I'm trying to be more, I guess, proactive. There we go. Trying to be more proactive and participate more within the fandom, because I used to. And like mentioned earlier in an earlier segment in this episode, a lot of times life just gets in the way. I have a full-time job. I now have a new kitten. And so now I have 2 cats. I obviously have a relationship with my wife. I'm trying to maintain friendships, trying to get into more, you know, things. So sometimes it kind of gets in the way, and I'm like, oh shoot, like, yeah, I am a furry. Like, I am part of this fandom. Like, I should be more like into it. But like we also mentioned, you know, it's how you want to do it. You can be as in or as out of this fandom as you want to be, because it doesn't necessarily matter.
There's no wrong or right way to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, the furry fandom is my life. I got tattoos. I mean, hell, if that's what you want to do, get your persona tattooed on you. That's dope as heck. Hell yeah, I've known people to do that. Like, that's awesome. But you don't have to be. You'd be like, you know what, casually, yeah, I like this. Or like, I'll go to conventions, or like, I'll go to fur meets and stuff like that. Or I have a friend that's, you know, a furry, and like, sometimes we get together and we role play or something like that. Like, the opportunities and the creativity and stuff is literally endless. So
it is.
Yeah.
I participate doing the podcast. I never set out in the fandom to be a podcaster. In fact, it was never my intention to live stream or do anything like that, because I've never done anything like that before I found the fandom at all. I had no knowledge of it. So I just kind of like learned as I went. But I never, like, as I went through the live streaming stages of Fur Media and into podcasting, I did have a clear goal in mind. I don't want to be a household name. I don't want us to be super popular. I want us to cater to those who need it most. I want us to be what everyone wants to be, but isn't. Everyone needs to have something to look up to, and they have us. They have someone to hear funny stories, but they also feel validated in their feelings of what they're going through. That is the clear goal that I have for this podcast. And I must be doing it well, because I get a lot of emails and a lot of people telling me the same things. And so that's important to me. If we only cater to 3,000 subscribers of the fandom, that's still 3,000 people. That's a lot of people. Do I want more? Sure. But it's not like something that hangs over my head and says, I have to be more. I don't actively like go around and boast my podcast in front of friends. That's not what I do. I kind of just absorb, listen to what they're talking about, maybe create an episode based off of that. But a lot of my other team members are more proactive than I am, and I am appreciative of that. So, you know, I didn't set out to be this, but I am this now, and I have found my place in the fandom. I'm a beacon of hope. The podcast is a beacon of hope, not a lighthouse, because lighthouse is kind of boring. So we're just like a big old gay beacon of hope is what we are.
I think the years of talking with you and hanging out with you, Space, has activated, I'm not sure what to call it, like my space brain, but my brain literally went, we're just a big glowing dildo.
We are. We're floating in the sky. You're looking up there and you're like, oh my God, that is a giant dildo. And there is Paradox in space, just totally having a chat on top of that thing as it goes by. And you think to yourself, I could probably do that. I don't know.
I too could float on a giant glowing dildo.
Yeah. You know, it is what it is. We're there.
Do you think Dear Dog could like make this for us?
A giant glowing dildo. Yeah. You know, she has started to push herself into that type of art style. I bet she could. No. If not, I know that Kira could do it.
We should like I'll help pay for it. We should get like a little banner made, or it's just us having like a cup of tea or some shit. A little picnic.
It's got to be a GIF. It's got to be like a little GIF that someone makes. And we're just like, like you said, we're just having tea at the top of this big glowing dildo.
Wait. You remember Nine Cat or not, whatever the hell it's called?
Possibly.
Hang on. I got this. Oh my god. Here you go. Like this. Are you okay, wife? Are you dying? What's happening? He shocked me. It's that.
Oh.
I sent it to you.
Yeah, it's Pop-Tart Cat. It's Pop-Tart Cat. We're literally Pop-Tart Cat, but we're a giant dildo, a glowing one.
Yes. It's gotta have like the 80s like synth wave like straight from the muzzle in the background.
Yes. And then our song's gonna be like the Pink Pony Club, just like playing.
Yes. Oh my god. I'm so ready for this. Oh my god.
It's just like people are sitting, enjoying a picnic outside, and all of a sudden this giant floating, big, glowing dildo just passes over, and they're just like, what the fuck is that? That's us. So that question that I asked, what is something that you do to participate in the fandom? Our next topic, and this is important because while you're trying to kind of like reconnect in the fandom, some people might try to overdo it and just grasp at everything that they can. And that can actually cause more burnout and more problems. So our advice is to take it slow. Reconnecting doesn't have to happen overnight. And in fact, it doesn't happen overnight, except for maybe those who rage quit, or what did you say it was? Is crashing hard.
Oh, yeah. Crash out.
Crash out or rage quit. Yep. For those don't count in this particular thing. But reconnecting, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over the course of maybe a week, a couple months, maybe a year. Who knows? I was just chatting with a new member of the group. I won't outright name their name because, out of respect. But I asked them, like, well, what made you want to become more active if you've been in the fandom for so long? And they kind of explained and told me a little bit about it. But I found that really interesting that they had been in the fandom for quite a while, but just recently decided to become active. So sometimes you have some slumbers and there are some sleepers, and then all of a sudden they decided to become active for whatever reason. I have no idea why. But it just happens to people, and that's totally cool. But you don't have to rush it. In fact, I wouldn't recommend rushing it. Anytime you rush something, mistakes will always happen. It happens all the time. Every time they try to rush a launch for like a new rocket, they always have problems. So just take it slow, right? Accept the fact that you're easing into this, but it's not going to be like overnight. Maybe you join a chat this week. Maybe you join a group next week. It doesn't have to be all at once. Just take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
You can participate casually or deeply. It really depends on your personality. You want to dive in? Great, go for it. I've dived in.
Cannonball straight into it.
Oh, God, yeah, right? Just like, I'm here. It's the dildo crashing. We're here. Yeah. It's like someone's having a thought like, should I go back into the fandom again? And then we just crash right in front of them and we run out of the dust. Like you and I are just walking out from the crush, like the dust and the fire. And we're pointing at them and saying, yes, you should. It's just total cinematic, like right?
A mini comic.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's important to find that space, feel comfortable and welcoming. But you don't have to rush it. A question I do have for that, though, is what are some things that you do in general to ease back into hobbies or into the fandom?
Yeah.
So hobbies that I do, again, podcasting is a hobby, so it will always be a hobby. The moment we start asking for people to donate money, then we have an obligation. And I don't want to have an obligation. I want it to be fun. And that's what it is right now. It's still fun.
It is fun.
I will accept the occasional donation because running this podcast is expensive, but it's not necessarily something that is on my mind. It's not the most important thing. I like to do crafts and I like to do things that take my mind off of stuff. Right now, Sparrow and I are doing a thing called pen paling, where we write to each other once a month and then we respond to each other just depending on the letter that we send. And so it's kind of creating, like, it's spawning this like creation inside of me that I haven't had for a long time. So it's really nice to kind of reignite that. And it's something I get to look forward to. The whole point of it is to talk about all the positive things that have happened to us over the month and things that we want to do, along with responding to things that they said in the previous letter. And so doing that has really just made me happy inside. And that's something I do within the fandom because, again, she's a host, but she's also my best friend. Guys, essentially, you guys are all my best friends. I don't like to put numbers or labels on it. You're all my friends. And I enjoy doing these little activities with people. So it's just something that I do.
It brings us closer together.
Closer together, like sandwich and no, I was going to say like bread and peanut butter, but that didn't come out right. So we're going to skip it.
I thought you were about to say sandwiches and paint. And I'm like, what?
Sandwiches and paint, they come together.
They come together.
You absorb the paint through the bread.
You might get lead poisoning.
Yeah. And then you basically take that and you throw it against the wall and you've got art.
Modern art.
There you go. It's better than a duct taped banana.
That's been a piece.
That was a piece, and I am upset that actually is an art piece that was obsessive by everyone, and I don't get it.
I also don't get it. All right.
It makes no sense. What are some things that you do to ease back into hobbies and stuff?
So I've been
besides launching yourself on a dildo.
I'm not no. I do not launch myself on a ditto, not a ditto. Oh my God, a dildo, Jesus Christ, not in a very long time. Anyway, so to launch back into hobbies, I think lately I've been getting more into, I think I mentioned this, trying to explore more into tabletop games and card games. So recently I picked up, I said, heck it, I'm gonna do it. I've been wanting to play more card games, so I'm trying to look more into stuff like Magic the Gathering. I'm not gonna be super gung-ho into it, but like there is a deck that I have been wanting to play, and it's got raccoons, and I love raccoons.
Oh,
but
cool.
It's really cool, yeah. When I was in high school, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot, and my favorite deck to play was actually called Baby Raccoons, and it had little raccoon characters, and they would make more, and it was really cool. So it's kind of the similar concept, but a lot of my friends still play like Magic, and they've been really trying to get me to get like to play it casually, and I'm like, yeah, I could probably do that. They're also trying to get me to play like other more niche ones. Can't remember quite the names of them, but at this point in time. But Dungeons and Dragons I've been really wanting to get into, so I'm trying to get into painting like miniatures and like collecting dice. I'm trying to learn like the mechanics and how to make a character and how to make stories and like campaigns and stuff. So I'm trying to do like little stuff like that, and I'm trying to find like a nice D&D group to like really settle into. So what's really nice is recently my job has allowed me to have Tuesdays and Saturdays off. Today is actually a Saturday. We're recording on Saturday.
Maybe it's a Tuesday.
And
I don't know.
Maybe it is. Who knows? Maybe it's a completely other day in between. Maybe it's 4 a.m.
Ew.
Ew, no, it's not 4 a.m. For me, it's about 5:06 p.m. So I'm in Ohio. Anyway, so I have Tuesdays and Saturdays off, so that kind of opens up more opportunity, not only to be more involved with this podcast, but also to be more involved with like other things, like friend get-togethers and like I said, hobbies and stuff. I'm also trying to get more into just my art in general. I've been really slacking on that. Once in a while, I'm like, yeah, I can do art, and then I make something, and everybody's like, wow, that looks so good. And I'm like, thanks, guys. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I vanish off the face of the earth for like 6 months. So I'm trying to get back into that.
So yeah.
Overall,
the main question that kind of sets everything in motion. Is the fandom right for me? Or is the fandom right for you? I probably should have phrased that better. Sometimes when I'm creating notes, I create them as if I'm talking to myself. So a lot of the questions are like centered at me, but I forget to change them so that they're centered towards the audience. So it's okay if your relationship with the fandom changes. If it fluctuates, if let's say you've been in the fandom for 10 years and you're just like, I want to try something else. That's cool. You can leave. It's not a big deal. It happens. Change is fine. It's not a problem. I think what's most important overall is the best version of the fandom is the one that makes you happy. There's no right version of the fandom out there. There are people who create guidelines and they create stories and books and art and then say, this is how you have to do the fandom to be happy. But honestly, it's a bunch of bullcrap. The best part of the fandom is your version of the fandom and how it makes you feel. That's what's most important. So if it works for one person, doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
There's no guidebook. Yeah, there's no guidebook to the fandom. There's no manual. It's just, here you go.
Exactly.
Do with it what you will.
As a positive reminder, the furry fandom has always been about creativity, acceptance, and shared passion. Whether you've been here for years, took a long break, or just discovered it yesterday, there is still always a space for you. Sometimes reconnecting starts with something simple, leaving a comment, sharing a character idea, or even saying hello. And that small step can lead to friendships, inspiration, and a renewed sense of belonging. Again, sometimes the small things are what really matter in making a big impression. So I will admit, some of these I was actually like really emotional when I was writing them because I was going through an emotional thing. But
oh, well, honestly, like, I mean, the furry fandom to us is not just a fandom. I mean, we have found a found family like within this podcast and each other. So it makes sense that it's very emotional and very near and dear to our hearts.
It's like an unrecognized country to the world. You know,
Yep.
we're not all like 100% like located next to each other, but it feels like we're just like this one giant blanket of people that kind of envelop the world. And that's just what we are.
We're just a giant group hug. Wait, what was the thing that we used to call it? It's not fur pile. It's like glomp or something. I don't know. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a giant burrito filled with all different types of people, and they taste amazing.
And sometimes it's a mess. Sometimes it's a mess, but everybody likes tacos, and tacos get messy. So there you go. Yeah.
Before we leave, just a few additional questions for you guys to answer. These are just kind of random ones. But one of the questions is, have you ever changed your persona based on where you are in life and why? And then the other question is, what types of activities have you done to make friends in the fandom? Do you have any recommendations for groups and chats? So I will create a document with all of these questions on it. I am asking you, the listener, to answer those questions and send back an email. The more responses we get, the better the diversity of the answers we'll be able to then create part 2 for. When will part 2 come out? It all depends on how many emails we get in. So I don't have a set estimated time for this. It just depends on the interaction. I'm hoping that we get a lot from you guys because I want to be able to read and share your stories and experiences so that maybe one day when someone's listening to this, whether they're discovering the fandom for the first time or they're coming back from a long hiatus, they have perspective. And it's not just our podcast perspective. It's yours and everyone else's that decided to write in and share. As always, we thank you for listening to our episode and our show. You can always find us on Blue Sky. And I don't remember the handle, but if you just search like From the Muzzle or Straight from the Muzzle, we'll pull up.
We're there somewhere.
We're on Twitter. Yeah, we're on Twitter, but I've been thinking about closing it. So because it's just not as active as Blue Sky is, but that remains to be a question in the air. You can email us at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. You can write to us about anything. We'll share it on our Fangasms episode. Sometimes we'll even bring you on as a guest. Who knows? So there's always little fun things here and there. And you can join our Telegram group. If you're having issues joining Telegram, just reach out to us like on Blue Sky or Twitter or on our email. Say, hey, I need a link to join the group. And then I'll send you a link. And then we have a process for when you enter the group. We have to send you a personalized message and we send you a set of questions that you need to answer. We do this to regulate spam and scam accounts from actual real people. So there's that. If in case you're like, why haven't they approved my join? Well, that's the reason why. We're waiting for you. Essentially. But that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
If you ever feel discouraged, just look up to the sky. And you may just see us flying by on a little dildo.
All right, folks, you guys have a wonderful day, evening, morning, whenever you're listening to us. And we'll see you guys on our next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.